The Beatles had already achieved legendary status in Liverpool and Hamburg nightclubs when they began recording their songs. On October 5, 1962, the debut single by Paul McCartney and John Lennon, titled Love Me Do, was released in the UK. Nevertheless, its performance fell short of expectations, reaching a peak of 17. Regardless, Paul was aware it was a major turning point. "In Hamburg, we clicked," he reflected on the album's release during the interview. "Our paths crossed in the cavern. But if you're curious about when we knew we had arrived, it was when Love Me Do started to do well on the charts. Yeah, that was it. It provided us with a destination." George Martin, the band's producer, and the members themselves had different ideas on how to approach the release of a second single. The band was solely interested in releasing original material, but Mr. Martin wanted to release a cover of How Do You Do It by Mitch Murray. According to Paul, "It was symptomatic of our group that we turned down How Do You Do It." Ringo Starr has stated, "I remember us all being ready to stand up for the principle of, we have written these songs, and we want to do them." Please Please Me was ultimately chosen as their second single instead. As the B-side to Love Me Do, John wrote it at his Aunt Mimi's house on Menlove Avenue. "We nearly scrapped it for the Love Me Do B-side, as John mentioned. Our exhaustion from performing Love Me Do the night before was the sole reason we reconsidered. Please Please Me was our original plan when we got to the opposite question after we'd been reviewing it several times." George Martin, our recording manager, believed our arrangement was too complicated, so we simplified it. When the song first came out, Mr. Martin wasn't a huge fan. "I remember Please Please Me being a rather depressing tune back then. Sluggish, bluesy vocals, reminiscent of a Roy Orbison song. My first impression was that it desperately needed some TLC. I suggested that they try again the next time by bringing it in. On November 26, 1962, they really recorded the song that would later become the name of their debut album. It was their first hit, as Mr. Martin had prophesied. With its meteoric rise to the top of the UK's Melody Maker and New Musical Express charts, it became the first #1 for the Beatles. But it failed to top the record retailer chart, the de facto UK singles chart, and never reached #1.